Hey everyone, it's David Sirota. So since the election, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of concern raised about the prospect of stealth foreign influence on America's government. A lot of this has been about the questions about Russia. Did Russia influence the election? Did it secretly collude with the Trump campaign? But the fact is, setting aside specifically the questions about Russia for a second, the fact is that foreign influence on America's government is hardly a stealth thing. It's out in the open. It's big business in Washington. It's huge business. Not just big business, huge business. And it's huge business in the lobbying world. We did a new investigation with the watchdog group MapLight. They're a campaign finance watchdog group. International Business Times and MapLight partnered to look at how much money is flowing from registered foreign lobbyists for foreign governments to American politicians. And guess what? It's a lot of money. In the last election alone, lobbyists in Washington who were registered to lobby for foreign governments and foreign interests delivered more than $4 million to candidates for federal office. And individual foreign lobbyists also bundled more than $5 million of donations to politicians, federal candidates for office. Bundling is when they collect donations from other people and package them together. So you've got millions and millions of dollars flowing to American politicians from lobbyists who were quite literally foreign agents. That's what they're called. The Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA, is where they register. These are people who have decided to represent foreign governments, foreign state-owned companies, and represent their interests in Washington, D.C. There are a number of former lawmakers, an army of former Capitol Hill staffers who have become foreign lobbyists. So foreign influence on America's government is hardly something stealth. It's right out in the open. And these folks are lobbying for all sorts of things. Part of our story, for instance, goes over how the country of Bermuda, in light of the Paradise Papers disclosures, the disclosures about offshore tax havens, they hired lobbyists who have donated money to politicians in Washington. The Nicaraguan government has hired foreign lobbyists, or lobbyists that are now registered foreign agents, to lobby about trade policy in Washington, D.C. One of the biggest foreign governments that has a huge number of lobbyists in Washington is Saudi Arabia. And they've lobbied on everything related to the Yemen war, to arms deals, to the Iran deal that the Saudi government has been critical of. So there's a huge number of lobbyists who are working to represent foreign governments. I encourage you to check out the entire database and see if your member of Congress has accepted money from registered foreign lobbyists. You can see our story at ibtimes.com. Now, you may be wondering, well, how is this even legal? There are laws on the books that say that foreign governments and foreign nationals cannot give money directly to American politicians or American political parties. But this is in some ways an end run around those laws, because these are Americans who are lobbyists and who are then registering to lobby on behalf of foreign governments, foreign corporations, and foreign nationals. So that effectively gets around those laws. Now, it's certainly true that a lot of these lobbyists are lobbying for all sorts of companies, some domestics, foreign governments and the like. So they're not only, in a lot of cases, lobbying for foreign governments. So it's hard in many cases to draw a one-to-one relationship between they got paid by a foreign government, and then they move some of that money that they got paid in a quid pro quo style from their coffers into the coffers of a politician. It's very hard to draw that line. But this is to say that there are no restrictions on being a foreign registered agent, a foreign lobbyist, and continuing to give to American politicians who you're trying to influence on behalf of a foreign government. So this is a particularly lucrative part of the lobbying world. I mean, you've got contracts that are worth $100,000, $120,000 a quarter. This is a very, very profitable part of the larger lobbying business in Washington. And you can see some of the data at FARA. If you go to FARA.gov, you can search around and see some of this influence, although it's not an easy website to navigate. This story took a long time to get all the data together and really do all the reporting around it. But it's important to remember that as you hear more and more about supposedly stealth foreign influence on government, a lot of this isn't secret. It's right out there in the open. It's big business, and it's happening all the time. And it involves millions and millions of dollars of campaign contributions going right to the American policymakers who are making American policy and who are being influenced by lobbyists who represent not the American government, but foreign governments.